I stand before the mirror, adjusting my tie, trying to make the lines on my face look less tense. The light from the chandelier in the penthouse living room spills over, glinting off my grandmother's wristwatch. I'm Ethan Caldwell, 45 years old, an architect who spent nearly 2 decades shaping the contours of Los Angeles, from skyscrapers to villas nestled under palm trees. But today, I'm not the one behind the blueprints. I'm just the brother-in-law, a guest at my wife's sister Sophie Bennett's wedding at the Beverly Wilshire Hotel. And despite preparing myself mentally, I feel a vague unease, as if I'm stepping into a party I wasn't invited to. Claire, my wife, left the house early this morning to help Sophie prepare. 17 years of marriage, and I've grown used to Claire putting her family first. But today, her absence makes me feel more adrift than usual. I wear a charcoal gray suit, not too flashy, because I know the spotlight will only shine on Sophie. I grab my car keys, glancing one last time at the penthouse before leaving. The spacious room with its large windows overlooking the Los Angeles skyline is the legacy my grandmother Eleanor left me. She once said, "This is where you can stand tall, Ethan, even if the whole world wants you to bow." I smile at the memory, but the smile fades quickly as I close the door. Before diving into the story, comment where you're watching from, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss the latest video. The drive to the Beverly Wilshire is crowded, like any day in Los Angeles. Traffic on Wilshire Boulevard is jammed, car horns blending with the city's bustling energy. I drive slowly, letting my mind drift to months past. Sophie, Claire's 30-year-old sister, has always been the center of attention in the Bennett family. She's beautiful, haughty, and spoiled by her parents since childhood. I don't blame Sophie for that, but I can't forget the time she called me an outsider in family conversations, despite my paying her college tuition and contributing to this wedding. Claire once said, "Sophie's just joking, don't take it to heart." But those jokes over the years have left scratches that never heal. I park in front of the hotel entrance, where neatly uniformed valets bustle about. The Beverly Wilshire glows under warm golden lights, its main lobby adorned with imported white orchids and shimmering silk drapes. Soft jazz music drifts from a corner of the lobby, mingling with the laughter and chatter of guests. I step inside, trying to blend into the atmosphere, but the sense of being out of place clings to me. The guests are all high society, businessmen in bespoke suits, ladies in sparkling diamond jewelry, and photographers hunting for Sophie's every perfect moment. I take a glass of sparkling water from a server's tray, standing off to the side in a corner of the lobby, observing. Sophie appears like a princess, her white wedding gown hugging her figure, hair swept up with a small tiara. She smiles radiantly, arm linked with James, the groom, a promising young lawyer. Guests swarm around, calling her queen or perfect bride. Claire is nearby, in a pearl-colored evening gown, chatting with her mother Margaret. Harold, Claire's father, stands beside them, holding a glass of whiskey, his sharp gaze sweeping the crowd. When his eyes meet mine, he gives a curt nod, as if I'm an employee who showed up late. I smile back without warmth. I recall the first time I met the Bennett family, right after getting engaged to Claire. Margaret had said, with a forced smile, "Ethan, you're so lucky to have Claire." I knew what she meant. I wasn't good enough for her daughter, even though I was already a well-known architect. Over the years, I tried to prove my worth. I paid off the mortgage on Harold and Margaret's house, helped Sophie through college, and even covered part of this wedding's costs. But there was never a thank you, only dismissive glances and veiled remarks that I never truly belonged to the family. I check my watch. The main reception is about to start. I walk into the banquet hall, where tables are elegantly set with silk linens and silver candles. I find my seat, a corner table near the window, far from the spotlight. Sophie and James are dancing their first dance, their eyes glowing under the lights. Claire sits near her mother, laughing and chatting animatedly. I sit at my corner table, the glow from the silver candles on the banquet tables illuminating the polite smiles of the guests around me. The jazz music still lingers in the air, but it's not enough to dispel the sense of isolation clinging to me. The Beverly Wilshire's banquet hall sparkles like a painting, with white silk drapes cascading down, and imported orchid arrangements exuding a sweet fragrance. Sophie and James, the center of the event, have just finished their first dance, earning thunderous applause. I clap along, but my gaze accidentally meets Claire's. She's standing by her mother, Margaret, in a shimmering pearl gown, but her eyes don't linger on me. They glide past, as if I'm just part of the backdrop. I sip my sparkling water, trying to focus on the small talk at the table. One of Sophie's friends recounts a recent Paris trip. Another guest brags about a new real estate project in Malibu. Lost in thought, I see Margaret approaching, her smile sharp as a honed blade. Harold, Claire's father, follows close behind, still holding his whiskey, his gaze cold as always. Claire trails them, her high heels clicking softly on the marble floor. "Ethan, can you step outside for a bit?" Margaret says, her voice sweet but with an edge that sends a chill down my spine. Just a family matter. I nod, set my glass down, and follow them to the balcony, where outdoor lights illuminate neatly trimmed flower beds. The balcony is quiet, with only the sound of water trickling from a nearby fountain. I stand facing them, hands in my suit pockets, trying to stay composed. Margaret speaks first, her voice soft like she's telling a fairy tale. Today's such a special day, isn't it? Sophie's found a wonderful man in James. We all want them to have a perfect start. She pauses, eyeing me as if probing. Harold stands still, his gaze fixed on the fountain, as if he wants no direct part in this. Claire speaks up, her voice slightly shaky but resolute. Ethan, we've been thinking, your penthouse. It's too big for just the two of you, and you're always traveling for work. Sophie and James need a place to start their new life. Don't you think? It'd be wonderful to gift it as a wedding present. Her words hang in the air, like a stone dropping into a still lake. My breath catches, not from surprise, but from confirmation. I've always sensed the Bennett family's desire for the penthouse, my grandmother's gift, where I find peace amid life's storms. What do you mean, Claire? I ask, my voice steady, trying to stay calm. The penthouse is my grandmother's legacy. It's not something to give away. Margaret cuts in, her tone sharper. Ethan, don't misunderstand. We just want what's best for Sophie. You don't have kids. That place is too big, too lavish for two people. Sophie and James deserve a home like that to build their family. Harold finally speaks, his voice low and cold. This is a family matter, Ethan. Don't make things complicated. I look at Claire, hoping for a hint of empathy, but she just lowers her head, hands clasped tightly. I'm not trying to complicate anything, I say, my voice firm. But the answer is no. The penthouse is mine. I'm not giving it to anyone. The air turns heavy. Margaret frowns, her smile vanishing. Claire steps forward, her eyes flashing with frustration and anger. Ethan, don't you get it? This is for family. You're always so selfish, always clinging to everything for yourself. Her voice rises, echoing in the quiet balcony space. Before I can respond, her hand swings up and a slap lands hard on my left cheek. The slap isn't strong, but it's enough to tilt my head to the side. The sharp crack rings out like a punctuation mark, making nearby guests turn, their wine glasses frozen mid-sip. I feel the sting on my cheek, but what hurts more is Claire's gaze. Not regret, but defiance, as if she believes I deserved it. Margaret turns away, pretending not to notice. Harold mutters, "This isn't about you, Ethan." I straighten up, not touching my cheek, not saying another word. The crowd is silent, their stares like needles in my back. From a distance, Sophie looks at me with a smirk, as if she saw this coming. I don't react, refusing to let them see me hurt. I walk to the nearest tray, grab a glass of champagne, not to drink, but to keep my hands from trembling. I move through the banquet hall, my shoes clicking steadily on the stone floor, head held high. Whispers follow, but I don't care. At the parking lot, I slide into my car, letting silence envelop me. My cheek still burns, but what weighs heavier is Claire's betrayal. I start the engine, the lights of the Beverly Wilshire fading in the rearview mirror. As I drive back to the penthouse, my grandmother Eleanor's words echo in my mind. Never let them take your dignity. I grip the steering wheel tightly, and for the first time, I know I won't let this go. I sit on the gray leather chair in the penthouse, the city lights of Los Angeles twinkling through the large windows, as if telling a story I no longer want to hear. The champagne glass I took from the wedding sits untouched on the kitchen counter, its bubbles long gone. My left cheek still smolders, a trace of Claire's slap, but what keeps me restless is her gaze. No remorse, no pain, just cold determination. 17 years of marriage, and I've grown used to moments when Claire chose her family over me. But this time, it's not just a word or a glance. It's a public betrayal, a declaration that I matter less than Sophie, less than the so-called family good. My phone buzzes, interrupting my thoughts. The screen shows Mr. Larson, the building manager. His voice is low, tinged with hesitation. "Mr. Caldwell, I hope I'm not disturbing you. We just received a request to update the resident list for your unit. Someone named Sophie Bennett wants to add her name to the system. They sent a form with a signature, supposedly yours." My blood surges, but my voice stays calm. "I didn't sign any form, Mr. Larson. Please cancel that request immediately." He apologizes, promising to handle it, but I can't shake the chill down my spine. Sophie isn't just talking, she's acting, and it's no coincidence. I stand up, walk straight to the digital control panel by the entrance, where the unit's access logs are stored. My fingers move quickly across the screen, checking the past 24 hours. And there it is. At 2:15 this afternoon, the side elevator recorded a spare key fob being used. I never gave Sophie a spare key, but an old memory floods back. 4 years ago, when Sophie had issues with her rental apartment, Claire suggested she stay with us temporarily. I gave Claire a spare key to pass to Sophie, with the condition that it be returned. Sophie said she returned it, but her evasive glance back then now looms clear in my mind. I was too trusting, too lenient. I walked to the drawer in my study, where I keep the spare keys, gym, bike storage, and mailbox. I count them quickly, and my heart sinks. The mailbox key is gone. The mailbox where I stashed an envelope containing a copy of my grandmother Eleanor's will, just a few weeks ago while organizing papers. That will, clearly notarized, confirms I'm the sole owner of the penthouse. If Sophie has the mailbox key, she might have taken it, or at least tried to. I sit at my desk trying to stay calm. Sophie isn't acting alone. Claire, Harold, Margaret, they're all in on this plan. I recall Sophie's smirk at the wedding, as if she knew something I didn't. I open my laptop, logging into the secondary Instagram account I use to scout real estate. I don't follow Sophie, but a friend once sent me a screenshot of her story. I dig up that message, and sure enough, it's there. A photo of my building's main lobby, with its marble columns and abstract wall painting. Sophie's caption reads, "Welcome to our new home." The post is set to close friends, but she didn't know I still had a way to see it. I shut the laptop, anger smoldering in my chest, but I know I can't let emotions take over. If Sophie, Claire, and the Bennett family have gone this far, forging signatures, using a spare key and publicly claiming the penthouse as theirs, I need more than anger. I need evidence, and I need action. I take a sip of cold coffee from the mug on my desk, then open the drawer to grab a notebook. I jot down what's happened. Mr. Larson's call about Sophie's request to add her name to the resident list, the elevator access log with the spare key fob, the missing mailbox key, and the Instagram post. Each detail is a puzzle piece, but I need more to expose their plan. I pick up my phone and dial Evelyn Harper, my grandmother Eleanor's lawyer. Her voice answers after 2 rings, calm and sharp as ever. "Ethan, it's late. Something important?" I briefly recount Claire's slap, the penthouse demand, and Sophie's actions. Evelyn doesn't interrupt, just takes notes, and finally says, "Bring the original will and all penthouse-related documents to my office tomorrow morning. We'll go over everything." I hang up, feeling a slight relief, but it's not enough. Evelyn is reliable, having helped my grandmother arrange everything before she passed, but I need more evidence to ensure no one can dispute my ownership. I return to the digital control panel by the entrance, downloading the elevator access logs to my phone. I check closer and spot a new detail. At 2:15 p.m., when the spare key fob was used, hallway security cameras caught a man standing near the side elevator. Tall, in a dark coat, face unclear, but I instantly recognized James, Sophie's newlywed husband. He didn't enter the unit, but he was clearly there to assist or oversee. I switched to the building's security camera system, which I can access as a longtime resident. After a few minutes of searching, I find footage from 2 days ago, around midnight. James appears at the building's side gate, holding what looks like bolt cutters, glancing around furtively before approaching my unit's balcony gate. He doesn't cut the lock, perhaps realizing there's a camera, but the act is enough to show they're not just talking. I save the video, take screenshots, and send everything to a folder on my computer labeled Evidence. I sit back, rubbing my temples, trying to piece it all together. Sophie used the spare key, possibly took the mailbox key, and now James is attempting a break-in. Does Claire know about this? Or is she just being manipulated by her family as they've done for years? I want to believe Claire didn't mean to betray me, but her slap at the wedding, her cold stare makes me doubt. I text Mark, my longtime colleague, and the only person I trust enough to share this with. "You free? Need to talk." Mark replies instantly. "At the bar on Sunset. Come over." I hesitate but decide to leave the penthouse. The bar on Sunset Boulevard is lively but not too loud. Mark sits at the corner of the counter, a beer in front of him. He nods when he sees me, his sharp eyes catching that I'm not okay. "You look like you got run over by a truck, Ethan. What's up?" I spill everything. Mark listens, not interrupting, only frowning when I mention the Instagram post. "They don't just want the house, Ethan," he says, his voice low. "They want to control you. You've been giving in too long and now they think you'll keep bowing." Mark's words hit like a cold splash. He's right. I've always tried to please the Bennett family, from paying off Harold and Margaret's debts to supporting Sophie. I thought it was the way to keep peace, to make Claire happy, but now I see it only made them view me as a tool. "So what are you gonna do?" Mark asks, sipping his beer. "Let them take the house, or fight back?" I look out the bar's window, the neon lights of Los Angeles flickering. "I'm going to fight," I say, my voice steadier than I expected. "The penthouse is mine, not just because of the paperwork, but because it's what my grandmother left me. I won't let them take it." Mark smiles, raising his beer. "That's the Ethan I know." I get home near midnight, my mind clearer. I open my laptop, checking the evidence folder again. Beyond James's video and the Instagram post, I find an old email from Evelyn with a scanned copy of my grandmother's will. I print it out, carefully placing it in an envelope with the penthouse ownership documents. Tomorrow morning, I'll meet Evelyn and start my counterattack. I look out the window, Los Angeles still blazing, as if reminding me this fight is just beginning. Morning light filters through the penthouse's large windows, casting a soft golden glow on the oak floor. I sit at my desk, a fresh coffee mug in front of me, and a neatly organized stack of documents prepared for my meeting with Evelyn Harper. But before I leave, the doorbell rings, sharp and unexpected. I check the security camera by the door. Claire stands there, in a beige wool coat, hair tied low, her face tired but still resolute. I open the door saying nothing, just stepping aside to let her in. Claire walks straight to the living room, ignoring the wall paintings or the shimmering Los Angeles view outside. She sits on the sofa, hands clasped tightly, and looks at me. "Ethan, we need to talk," she says, her voice soft but strained, as if playing a role in a script I wasn't given. I sit across from her, keeping my distance. "Go ahead," I reply, my voice even. Claire takes a deep breath, her gaze flicking over me before dropping to the floor. "I'm sorry about last night. The slap, I lost control. But you have to understand, my family's under a lot of pressure. Sophie and James need a good start, and the penthouse, it could help them." I frown, anger stirring again, but I stay silent, letting her continue. "I know it's important to you, but family comes first, Ethan. You can't keep holding on to it forever." I lean forward, looking straight into Claire's eyes. "Family comes first, Claire? Then why didn't you say anything when your parents called me selfish? Why did you slap me in front of everyone? And why did Sophie try to add her name to this building's resident list without asking me?" Claire blinks, her face paling, but she quickly regains composure. "Sophie just misunderstood. She thought you'd agree, that it was best for everyone." I shake my head, standing up and grabbing my phone, pulling up the screenshot of Sophie's Instagram post. "Misunderstood? Then what's this, Claire? Sophie called the penthouse her new home. She used a spare key to get in here, and my mailbox key is gone." I pause, watching Claire, waiting for a reaction. She bites her lip, her eyes wavering, but she doesn't answer. "You knew about this, didn't you?" I ask, my voice low but sharp. Claire doesn't respond, just lowers her head, her silence the clearest answer. I turn away, disappointment surging like a wave. "I thought you were different from them, Claire. I thought we were a family too." She stands, stepping closer, placing a hand on my shoulder. "Ethan, I still love you, but my family, they need me. Think it over for us." I brush her hand off, not harshly, but enough for her to understand. "No, Claire, this isn't about family. It's about respect, and you chose their side." She opens her mouth to say something, but my phone rings, cutting her off. It's Evelyn. I gesture for Claire to leave, and she walks out, her eyes filled with anger mixed with helplessness. At noon, I arrive at Evelyn Harper's office in downtown Los Angeles. Her office sits high in a glass building, overlooking the bustling Wilshire Boulevard. Evelyn, with her silver hair neatly pinned and thin-framed glasses, greets me with a friendly but stern nod. "Sit down, Ethan," she says, pointing to the chair across from her. I place the stack of documents on her desk, explaining everything: the penthouse demand, Claire's slap, Sophie's actions, and James's video. Evelyn flips through the papers, her eyes sharp. "Eleanor's will is clearly notarized. You're the sole owner. No one can challenge that unless they forge documents." Just then, my phone buzzes. An email from the law office of Claire's uncle, Richard Bennett, comes through. I open it, and my heart skips a beat. It's a letter demanding I vacate the penthouse within 7 days, claiming it belongs to the future family of Sophie and James. Attached is a forged will, declaring Sophie the sole heir with a signature supposedly from my grandmother Eleanor. I hand the email to Evelyn. She scans it, then smirks. "This signature's fake. I witnessed Eleanor sign the original will. They weren't smart enough to cover their tracks." I exhale, relief mixing with resolve. "So what's next?" Evelyn taps the desk lightly, her eyes gleaming like a strategist's. "We'll respond with the original will, access logs, and security footage. I'll draft a cease and desist letter sent directly to Sophie and Richard. If they don't back down, we'll take it to court." She pauses, looking at me. "You ready, Ethan?" I nod, feeling like I've crossed an invisible line. "I'm ready." On my way back, I stop at a bakery on Wilshire Boulevard, buying a croissant and a coffee. I'm not hungry, but I need something to keep me alert, to remind me I'm still alive, still fighting. I stand before the mirror in the penthouse bathroom, adjusting my tie, trying to make my eyes look calmer than the turmoil inside. The Homeowners Association HOA meeting is tonight in the building's common room, and I know it's not just a regular meeting. Sophie filed a complaint, accusing me of violating building rules from causing noise to using toxic chemicals on the balcony. Ridiculous claims, but I understand the real goal: pressure me to give up the penthouse, or at least discredit me in front of the residents. I take a deep breath, grab the prepared documents: original will, security footage, Sophie's Instagram screenshot, and Evelyn Harper's letter, and head out the door. My building, a modern high-rise in downtown Los Angeles, has a common room on the ground floor, with glass walls overlooking a meticulously maintained garden. As I step inside, the air hums with residents' chatter. I recognize a few faces: Mrs. Coleman, my neighbor on the 5th floor, always bringing cookies to meetings; Mr. and Mrs. Parker, the elderly couple who complain about everything; and Mr. Thompson, the HOA president, standing at the head of the table with a neutral expression. Sophie sits in the front row, wearing a deep green dress, holding a folder, her gaze so confident it almost makes me laugh. Claire isn't here, and I don't know if that makes me relieved or disappointed. Mr. Thompson taps the table lightly, signaling for silence. We'll start with the complaint regarding Mr. Ethan Caldwell's unit, he says, his voice even. Mrs. Sophie Bennett has filed a claim, alleging Mr. Caldwell violated noise regulations, made unauthorized balcony modifications, and used substances harmful to pets in the building. A few eyes turn toward me, ranging from curious to suspicious. Mrs. Coleman frowns, as if she doesn't believe what she just heard. Sophie stands, a slight smile on her lips, her voice sweet but sharp. I just want to ensure this building is safe and fair for all residents, she says, glancing at me. My brother-in-law Ethan hasn't followed the rules, and I'm concerned it's affecting everyone. She opens her folder, pulls out a sheet, and reads aloud. There were reports of noise from his unit last week, and some residents noticed a strange chemical smell from his balcony. I hear whispers from the back row, but I don't react. I just stand there, hands in my suit pockets, waiting for my turn. Mr. Thompson looks at me. Mr. Caldwell, would you like to respond? I nod, step forward, and place my stack of documents on the table. I'm not here to argue, I say, my voice calm but loud enough for the room to hear. I'm just bringing the truth. I grab the remote, turning on the large screen at the back of the room, where I've connected my laptop. The first slide appears. A screenshot from security footage showing James, Sophie's husband, near my balcony gate at midnight, holding bolt cutters. This is James Bennett, attempting to access my unit without permission, I say, letting the image speak for itself. Murmurs in the room grow louder. I move to the next slide, the elevator access log, showing a spare key fob used at 2:15 p.m., the same time Sophie tried to add her name to the resident list. I never gave this key to Miss Bennett, I say, looking directly at Sophie. Her face starts to pale, but she holds her confident demeanor. I continue, displaying Sophie's Instagram post with the caption, "Welcome to our new home," and a photo of the building's lobby. Miss Bennett publicly claimed the penthouse as hers, though I never agreed to give it up. The meeting room falls nearly silent, with only a few sharp breaths audible. Tertiary content continues in the same vein. I move to the final slide, a scan of my grandmother Eleanor's original will, clearly notarized, confirming I'm the sole owner of the penthouse. This is my grandmother's will, I say. It's legally notarized, and this, I point to a copy of the forged will from Richard Bennett, is a fake document, with a signature that isn't my grandmother's. I pause, looking at Mr. Thompson. Miss Bennett and her family tried to seize the penthouse by forging papers. Sophie jumps up, her voice trembling. This is a fabrication. He's trying to humiliate me. But no one speaks up for her. Mrs. Coleman shakes her head, whispering to the person next to her. Mr. Parker, who once complained about me, lowers his head, avoiding my gaze. I look at Sophie, saying nothing, but my stare is enough for her to know. The game is over. Mr. Thompson clears his throat, his face grave. Miss Bennett, this evidence is very clear. I declare this matter closed, and the HOA apologizes to Mr. Caldwell for this inconvenience. He turns to me, nodding. We'll ensure no further issues arise. Sophie clutches her folder, her face flushed. You're all blind, she shouts, knocking over a chair before storming out. The door slams shut behind her, leaving an awkward silence. I stand there, feeling relief mixed with exhaustion. Mrs. Coleman approaches, placing a hand on my shoulder. I'm sorry, Ethan. I didn't know about this. I give a faint smile, nodding my thanks. Mr. Thompson comes closer, his voice low. If you ever want to run for the HOA board, I think you'd have support. I reply, thanks, but I just want some peace for now. I gather my documents, walk out of the meeting room, the hallway lights blazing. No one follows me, and for the first time I feel I don't need them to. The doorbell rings, and I glance at the security camera, slightly surprised to see James, Sophie's newlywed husband, standing there. He's in a wrinkled shirt, hair disheveled, no longer the polished figure from the wedding. In his hand is a beige envelope, its edges slightly crumpled. I open the door, saying nothing, just gesturing for him to come in. James steps inside, his eyes scanning the penthouse as if seeing it for the first time, then sits on the sofa, still gripping the envelope. I'm sorry for showing up like this, Ethan, he says, his voice low and weary. But I need to talk to you. It can't wait. I sit across from him, keeping my composure. Go ahead, I reply, my voice even. James sighs, opens the envelope, and slides it toward me. I didn't know about this until after the HOA meeting. Even then I didn't want to believe it. But I've seen enough to know I was used. I look at the envelope. Inside is a stack of printed pages, screenshots of text between Sophie, Claire, and Margaret. I flip through them, my heart sinking as I read the cold words. Push Ethan harder, just say it's for family, he'll give in. Claire, make him feel guilty, you know how. Once we get the penthouse, we're done. I look up at James. Where did you get these? He rubs his face, as if trying to shake off shame. From Sophie's phone. She left it unlocked after we fought about the HOA thing. I snap pictures of everything. He pauses, his voice hoarse. They used me, Ethan. They told me you were holding the penthouse selfishly, that you didn't need it. I signed a witness form for the property transfer letter, thinking it was just a formality. Now I see I was a pawn, and you were the target. I say nothing, just keep flipping through the pages. A text from Sophie stops me cold. Don't worry, Claire will get Ethan to agree. He's always weak for her. A sharp pain stabs my chest, not from anger, but from the harsh truth that Claire knew everything. She didn't just side with her family, she actively joined their plan. James goes on, his voice trembling. I also found my prenup with Sophie. He pulls out a sheet, pointing to a highlighted section. The penthouse is listed as a future marital asset, pending transfer after the wedding. Sophie told me it was a promise from her mom, that you were just holding it temporarily. I look at James, unsurprised. So what do you want now? He lowers his head, voice soft. I'm filing to remove the penthouse from the prenup. If you need me, I'll testify. I don't want any part of this anymore. I nod, feeling no joy, just cold clarity. Thanks for telling the truth, I say, standing to see him out. James pauses at the door, looking at me. I always thought you were the strong one, Ethan. I just didn't realize how much they resented you for it. I don't reply, just open the door, and he steps out, his figure fading down the hall. That evening, Claire calls. I let the phone ring 3 times before answering. Ethan, we need to meet, she says, her voice soft, as if trying to soothe things. I agree to meet at a small cafe near Wilshire Boulevard. When I arrive, Claire's already there, a latte untouched in front of her. She looks at me, eyes full of emotion, but I no longer trust them. I was wrong, Ethan, she starts. I let my family push me into doing things I shouldn't have. But I still want us to fix this. I look at her, voice calm. Fix it. Claire, you knew about Sophie's plan, the fake will, her trying to take the penthouse. You didn't just stay quiet, you were part of it. Claire opens her mouth to protest, but I raise a hand, pulling out my phone to show the text screenshots James gave me. She pales, speechless. I wanted to believe in you, Claire, I say, but you chose them over me. I stand, leaving the bill on the table. I'm filing for divorce. You have time to think, but I'm not waiting anymore. Back at the penthouse, I find my grandmother Eleanor's letter in the desk drawer. Her handwriting is still sharp, like her voice. Family isn't one-sided sacrifice, Ethan. You deserve to be loved for who you are. I sit there, reading it over and over, and for the first time, I feel relief. I don't need Claire, don't need the Bennetts to define my worth. I found it, right here in this home, in what my grandmother left me. I stand on the penthouse balcony, the Los Angeles night breeze sweeping through, carrying the cool ocean air, and the hum of Wilshire Boulevard below. The city skyline blazes, skyscrapers like flames defying the dark. In my hand is my grandmother Eleanor's watch, its second hand ticking steadily, as if reminding me time doesn't stop, and neither do I. Her letter, with its crisp lines, sits on the living room table, proof I haven't let her down. I take a deep breath, letting the night air fill my chest. The fight with the Bennetts, Claire's slap, Sophie's scheming, Harold and Margaret's cold stares, feels like a distant memory now. I protected the penthouse, not just as property, but as a symbol of the dignity my grandmother gave me. More than that, I protected myself, breaking free from the outsider role they forced on me for 17 years. I no longer resent Claire or the Bennetts. They chose their way, and I chose mine. Los Angeles twinkles outside my window as if celebrating my rediscovery of myself. I wonder, when love demands silence and you choose to speak, what is it? To me, it's not betrayal. It's freedom, and for the first time in my life, I claim it as mine. Ethan Caldwell's story, set in modern Los Angeles, mirrors the social and family pressures still present in American life today, especially in big cities where personal worth is often tested by collective expectations. Ethan, a 45-year-old architect, faces betrayal from his wife Claire and her family when they demand he give up his penthouse, his grandmother Eleanor's legacy, to his sister-in-law Sophie. Claire's slap at the wedding, the forged will, and the Bennetts' manipulation reflect a common American reality. Family pressure can push individuals to sacrifice their own interests for the so-called greater good. In American culture, where individualism is prized, Ethan's story underscores the lesson of setting clear boundaries. He doesn't just save the penthouse but affirms his self-respect, rejecting the outsider role his in-laws imposed. His use of concrete evidence, security footage, Instagram posts, the original will at the HOA meeting highlights the importance of preparation and rationality in facing conflict, a vital skill in today's America, where legality and transparency often define justice. Ethan's journey from hurt to freedom teaches us that in a society valuing independence like the U.S., everyone must learn to stand up for themselves, not letting family or societal expectations define their worth. The takeaway is, cherish personal legacies like Eleanor's watch or letter, and bravely set boundaries, even if it means facing those closest to you. Subscribe to the channel to follow Ethan's journey and more inspiring stories about self-respect. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.